If you want to know how to fix anterior pelvic tilt, then this is for you. I suffered a really nasty fall when I was serving in the army as an infantry soldier, and as a result I have a pars defect in my lower back and also spondylolisthesis, and that causes a really nasty anterior pelvic tilt. I know how to deal with this, and if you follow this strategy, you're going to seriously improve your condition.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
The pain that I've suffered from having an anterior pelvic tilt has been really nasty, and I sought for guidance for well over a decade trying to fix the problem. And what I learned is that it's basically a combination of weak abs, weak glutes, tight lumbar extensors and tight hip flexors. They're the main things that you need to work on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a routine now that you can do daily that's going to dramatically improve your APT, your anterior pelvic tilt. Try this 6 days a week for the next 30 days. And you can either do 1, 2 or 3 rounds of it. The more probably the better, as long as you don't go too hard, as long as you don't push yourself too hard. But 3 rounds a day of this will seriously change your life. But even if you did 1 round every day, which would be a very short amount of time, I'm just going to do 1 round now, then you'll see a massive improvement. So let's jump down and check it out. The first one that we're going to do is for the abs. We want to strengthen the abs here. So we're going to do what's called a hollow body hold, a bent knee hollow body hold. So I'm going to start with my knees at roughly a 90-degree angle. And what I'm going to do is tuck my chin to my chest and lift my shoulder blades off the ground. And that really activates my abs, okay? And pushes my lower back into the ground. So before you do anything else, you should feel in this position that there's no gap under your back. And for some people, if you're really deconditioned and your abs and your core is really deconditioned, just doing that is going to be a challenge. Just to activate your abs, push your lower back in the ground and keep your shoulder blades off the ground. But if you can do that whilst maintaining relaxed shoulders, lift your hands up and lift your feet just a couple of inches off the ground. And you want to make sure that that lower back doesn't arch off the ground. As soon as the lower back starts to come off the ground, then you're fatigued and you need to stop. Again, you might only be able to do 5 or 10 seconds. If you can do a full 60 seconds like this, then you can add a rock. By adding this rock, it makes it a lot more challenging. But when you rock like that, you've got to make sure you're not like flattening out on the ground. You've got to maintain that nice hollow body position, okay? So that's the first exercise. That's to strengthen the abs. Hey, in case we haven't met, my name is Rad Burmeister. I'm one of the co-founders of Unity Gym and co-creators of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we make driven people strong, flexible and fit. If you want to know how we do that, you can grab one of our free blueprints. There's a link in the description of this video where you can download all of them for free. Or if you want to grab one of our standalone programs, you can get any of our calisthenics programs, flexibility programs, injury rehab. We've got a lot of great stuff that you can get by clicking the link, looking at our library. And hey, if you're a high achiever and you want to get started on your journey to being strong, flexible and fit with our Unified Movement System, you can work with me personally and my team by getting a 30-day free trial of our UMS, where we give you done-for-you 1-hour workouts with follow-along videos, tutorials, everything you need, periodize it every 4 weeks to make sure that you stay on track, and put you into our private group where you can connect with me personally to get coached. Click the link in the description to start your 30-day free trial now. The second exercise is a really simple supine hip thrust. So we're just going to drive the hips up into the air, probably bring my feet a bit further away. So you want to push through the heels. By pushing through the heels, you'll really use the glutes more for this movement. If you push through the toes, it tends to get the quads going in a little bit more. So push through the heels, get to the top, hold for a second and back down slowly. When you get to the top, try to avoid this. That's an anterior pelvic tilt. What we want to do is a posterior pelvic tilt, which really maximizes glute activation. And when you get to the top, you think of pushing as far as you can, posterior pelvic tilt, so it's the opposite to the anterior pelvic tilt, and that really strengthens the glutes there. And those are the 2 major muscle groups that when the abs and the glutes are strong, that's what pulls your pelvis into a posterior pelvic tilt, and that's really what we need to be doing here. The next two parts of this strategy is the flexibility components that are required here. So what we need to do now is we need to create flexibility in the lumbar extensors, and also we need to create flexibility in the hip flexors, because when those two areas are tight, that's what pulls your body into the anterior pelvic tilt. So the hip flexors tight, lumbar extensors are tight, that pulls you into the anterior pelvic tilt. And when we release those, when we create some flexibility in those and strengthen the abs and the glutes, that's what pulls you into the posterior pelvic tilt. So for the lumbar extensors, this is a really nice exercise that I got from a chiropractor friend. And all we're going to do is grab on, interlock the fingers behind the knees, bend the knees, and we're basically going to do that same rocking motion that I demonstrated in the bent knee hollow body rock, except now we're not doing this as an ab strengthening exercise. So you won't feel much of your abs working here because of the way that you're gripping onto your legs here. And what we're doing by just rocking like this, we're just reminding the body of how to create lumbar flexion, okay? This is a really, really nice movement, quite gentle. And what you can even do, this is a little bonus movement, but it depends on how flexible you are. And if you're not as flexible as I am, you can put something under your heels to allow you to do this. But by coming down into a squat and leaning forward like this, this also really helps to relieve the lumbar extensors. So you might need to elevate your heels, you might have your bum up here if you're not as flexible as me, but just by trying to come down like this, okay, or coming down into a full squat and coming down, this is going to help with a nice stretch in the lumbar extensors as well. And then the last stretch that we're going to do is called a Minotaur stretch. So from here, we're really getting into the hip flexors now. What we're going to do, get into a lunge and just lunge forward as far as possible. Now, it's good to be able to keep your front foot flat on the ground, but if you can't do it, it's okay, because we're really trying to get into the hip flexors back here. So if your front foot comes off the ground, don't worry about it. But what we are looking for here is to keep the knee off the ground and to try and sit upright like this. And now I can really feel the stretch in my hip flexors here, okay? And we're just gonna hold this for 30 to 60 seconds is a really good time to hold, okay? So let's call that 30 seconds. We'll change sides, okay, so that I'm doing this in real time with you. And honest to God, in as little as what I've done here, if you compare this to doing nothing to try and fix your anterior pelvic tilt, to doing what I've just done here daily, I guarantee you will feel a little bit of a change. But if you can do 3 sets, and if you can do up to 60 seconds of the bent knee hollow body hold, whatever your best effort is, with the supine hip thrusts, you can do anywhere from 8 to 12. And if that's too easy for you, you can go onto one leg. By doing one leg at a time, that's a lot harder, a lot more challenging. And then with the back, the rock, the lumbar flexion rock, you can just do as much of that as what feels good. Like I usually just do about 30 seconds of it or so, and you'll get quite a good relief. And then that Minotaur stretch, 30 to 60 seconds. And if you can do that for 1, 2, or even 3 sets daily, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to undo damage that happens through everything that you're doing through your day, through your life. So by saying that you're going to do this like once a week or twice a week, it's not enough to combat what's going on through all of the sitting in a bad posture, through whatever it is that you've done in your life that's led you to having an anterior pelvic tilt. So it is something that we need to look at doing daily. So that's why a nice, simple little routine like this, that if you did 3 rounds of it, you could do it in probably 10 minutes. You could even do 1 or 2 rounds in the morning, 1 or 2 rounds in the evening. That'd be even better. And it will have a massive impact on your anterior pelvic tilt and give you some really good relief. It's worked for me. And if it's worked for me, somebody that has a pars defect and spondylolisthesis, then it's going to work for you as well. Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, consider subscribing to our channel and make sure you click the notification bell so you know when our weekly videos are uploaded. Now, the best thing for you to do if you want to stay connected with us and get free online coaching is to join our private Facebook group. It's called the UMS Movement Mastermind, and we go live daily where we answer our members' questions. It's very interactive because you can post questions while we're live and we interact with you on the show. You can also upload videos or pictures of yourself with any movements, any stretches, strength training movements, calisthenics, weightlifting, anything that you're struggling with, and we'll critique you, give you feedback, let you know how you can get better. It's a really valuable resource. It allows a lot of communication with us and also our senior tribe members. You'll get answers very, very quickly, and it's absolutely free. So jump on Facebook, search for UMS Movement Mastermind and join now. Until next time, have a great day.